Hello to everyone watching. Today we're making quite a hard video to make. What sucks about the Mazda Speed 3? Now if you watch the channel, just look at the channel, right? I love Mazda Speed 3s. I think they are amazing. But I'm not so biased that I think it's the best car in the world. I don't think that there's nothing wrong with the car. There's so much wrong with this car, and there is heaps wrong with every single car ever. So the first reason is that it's front wheel drive. It's kind of obvious. Now I know front wheel drive can be funner, you know, having the torque steer to fight with and all that. And I would rather have a decent set up front wheel drive car over a poorly set up all wheel drive car. Front wheel drive cars just typically are more involving. However, objectively, front wheel drive is wrong wheel drive. Now I think we can all agree that a tyre can only ever have 100% grip. So let's say in a rear wheel drive car, with the front wheels you're steering, right? You can put 100% of that grip on those front tyres into steering. Then if you're accelerating, perhaps you want to accelerate 20%. You can do 20% acceleration grip, but it's going to the rear. So you've still got 100% grip up front. However, in a front wheel drive car, these front tyres have to deal with the grip from steering and power delivery. So if you're doing 100% steering grip, you cannot do any acceleration grip at all. Which means that if you want to do 20% acceleration, just like that rear wheel drive car did, you have to only have 80% steering grip. And what does that mean? That means it starts to understeer. Or you have to go slower around the corner, because you don't have enough grip for steering. I hope that makes sense. And another thing is with the rear wheel drive car or a rear bias all wheel drive system, you know, you want to feel rotation. You want to feel the car rotating sort of around the middle of the car. It's a nice feeling, not like it's rotating around the front axle. It just feels nicer. Feels like you're more a part of the car driving. Another reason is the turbo delivery from that KO4 turbo. You see, the pickup is amazing. There's a little bit of lag, it creates suspense, but it's not too much. And the turbo comes in pretty hard, it comes in pretty fast. It's really addictive. However, then coming up to the top of the RPM range, the turbo starts to die off, you're losing a bit of power, and it just doesn't give you that rush to ring it out right to the red line. It doesn't give you that feeling that you have to absolutely be smashing right up there at the top of the RPM range and driving it super hard. And that just adds to fun of driving. If you like this video, like it, but I know a lot of you guys are Mazda Speed guys, and you're not going to like this, so I think I can see where that's going, but remember, I love Mazda Speeds. Yeah, it's hard to make, I know. But next up is all the reliability issues. Now, it's not bad at all, to be honest, but there are quite a bit. There's turbo seals. When they wear down, you'll have heaps of smoke coming out the back, and it's very embarrassing, and then you need a new turbo. I don't like that. We've also got the high pressure fuel pump internals. To be honest, they can't even really deal with stock fuel all that well. If you put into 5th, put into 6th, and floor it from a low RPM, you've got to run out of fuel. Your engine's got to run very lean because that high pressure fuel pump can't deliver enough petrol, and the engine's got to say bye-bye. Just an idea. It's a bad idea to floor it in low RPM in any boosted car. Another reason is timing chains. Timing chains aren't meant to stretch. However, on some cars, including Mazda Speed 3s, they do stretch and it's expensive to fix. Another reason, rust. They rust a lot. And another reason is it's direct injected. Now what that means is there's no injectors there spraying fuel on the valves to clean off all that carbon buildup from, your PCV system, your EGR system. Then moving on, another reason, engine mounts. They're basically from a naturally aspirated 2.3 Mazda 3. But we've got to put 100 more horsepower in it, and they just got to use the same mounts. Okay, and a lot more torque as well. Another thing, top mount intercoolers. Subarus have one because they've got a boxer engine. It sits very low, so they've got quite a good amount of space to have that top mount intercooler on top. They've also got a big hood scoop to take in heaps of cold air. However, Speed 3 has got an inline 4, so there really isn't much room for it. And we, in the Gen 1, didn't have a hood scoop. We had to rely on a little flap from the front grille. It's not smart. Another reason, the engines are quite finicky. Now they can be very reliable. When I say very, however you have to do strict maintenance. You have to follow the mods step by step. If you don't, your rod's joining SpaceX. Sorry about that. So I guess at least it's not an Evo with constant random issues. You could treat an Evo so damn good and it'll still have issues. Speed 3, you treat it well, it'll treat you well. Another thing, aftermarket support, I'm not complaining about this, is still really, really good, especially for such a small platform. However, when you've got this small platform, some parts just aren't developed. You see, the MZR was one of the first cars with direct injection, and since we're so small, it is financially stupid to develop some upgraded injectors. And that's because if someone spent all that money to develop them, because there's basically no Mazda Speed 3s around, they're not going to make their money back. It's a silly investment. That means making power costs a bit more. Another reason is the lack of front camber adjustment. Now, I know you can get, half a degree by loosening the strut mount bolts and, moving the wheel. But we need more than that, especially being front-wheel drive and relatively understeer prone. Because when you dial in that front camber, you can actually get rid of a lot of understeer. Because as you go around a corner, the wheel then actually is forced to lean and go on the flat side, you get more grip. Factory adjustable camber is the easiest method to minimize and perhaps even stop understeer. Following on from this, right, is I wish it was just a little bit rawer. Now, I know it was the rawest in its class, but I just want a bit more. Yeah, that's why it's a little bit silly, but following on from this, right, is it's not on a dedicated platform. You're probably thinking, what the hell's a dedicated platform? Why does it matter? Well, you see, when car companies go to develop a dedicated platform, they'll say, we want to make a dedicated sports car. Now, this means the only thing they have to worry about is performance. They can make the car very wide with quite a short wheelbase to make it nice and agile. They can make the frame quite thick, so it's stiffer. They can develop all the suspension to be more effective, specifically for performance. However, with a normal car like the Mazda 3 turning into a Speed 3, or basically any other hot hatch, Focus RS, Civic Type R, or any other performance sedan, BMW M3, E63S. Any car that has a normal model then a performance model, what they do, right, is they'll think, we have to make a Mazda 3. We have to make an economy car that's, relatively cheap, pretty reliable, nice to drive around. And then the Mazda Speed department comes in, they get this car and they're like, okay, we need to make a fast car now, so let's put on some stiffer suspension, chassis bracing, big brakes, big engine. And you just can't make a car that's quite as talented perhaps as a dedicated platform. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. If I've missed anything else that sucks about the Mazda Speed 3, please chuck it below, because I probably have forgotten some. If you did enjoy, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.